This is a passenger announcement. The 10:30 shuttle to Eden has developed a fault. A replacement shuttle will now depart from landing pad 2.
Hello.
Hello, love.
Do you come here often?
Every 1.5 hours or so. Could I buy you a drink?
Ooh, how exciting. So you're a Hutton trucker, are you?
That I am, my love.
A Centauri Mega Gin Sling, please, bartender.
Make that 2, please, bartender. Centauri Mega Gin. Guaranteed to erase your memory when you've just pulled a large load.
Hutton Orbital Radio, the only radio station to give you time off for good behaviour.
Hutton, Hutton, Hutton. Shining jewel in the Alpha Centauri system, home to the most dedicated and perhaps slightly eccentric truckers in the galaxy. Life here is anything but ordinary, and that's how we like it. Picture this, if you will. It's a typical morning on Hutton Orbital. The sun near, well, a distant star, is shining, the coffee machines are brewing the galaxy's finest Hutton blend, and Cecil is still trying to parallel park his Type 9 on a medium pad. You know, the usual. Our intrepid truckers begin their day with a briefing in the lounge, where everyone fights for the comfiest beanbag chairs. Anyone who doesn't get a beanbag has to sit in a hard plastic chair and get the big light every time a presentation starts. It's time to check the cargo manifest. We've got everything today, from mugs to precious minerals to more mugs. Because no one can ever have too many Hutton mugs, right? They're the galaxy's hottest commodity. And of course, there's always that one container mysteriously labelled "Not Space Llamas." We don't ask questions. After a quick game of who can fit the most limpets into a Sidewinder, it's off to the Hutton docking bays. Here you witness the universe's most skilled pilots attempting to load cargo while avoiding floor-mopping Guy's pet rock collection. It wouldn't be so bad, but some of them are 10 metres across. Lunchtime on Hutton is a community affair. McThargoid serves up cosmic cuisine, including the famous tentacle burritos. Be careful though, one wrong bite and you'll be chasing those wriggly little buggers all around the station for hours. Afternoons are for navigating the stars, dodging pirates, and of course the age-old tradition of convincing new commanders to fly up to the station and claim their free anaconda. As the day winds down, everyone gathers at the observation deck to watch the Alpha Centauri sunset, or rather the slow rotation of Hutton's exterior. It's not quite the same, but we pretend. The crackling of an aged tannoy breaks the spell, and, as everyone looks up irritated by the intrusion, a voice says,
"Our mic's alive." Good evening from a rather swelteringly hot Hutton Orbital.
Well, it is summer.
Yeah, in the northern hemisphere of Earth, we are supposed to have air conditioning. Quick, waft that fan in this direction.
Oh, you've got to be joking. This is my fan and I'm melting.
Ilya,
Didn't get that. Has Mr. Dusty been at the environmental controls again?
if he has, I'll go mental at his controls, funkin' robot.
And on that rather toasty note, it is time for their headlines. Wrong party in charge as Beldarkri brothers ousted.
Anti-trucking oafs miss the point entirely.
Too hot, too messy, hotter than usual, as South Britain bakes.
We welcome the latest GoogleNet cast members.
Yet more nakedness as tall tales reach the bar.
And it's all going no-wee.
Did you press record?
After shenanigans in recent weeks over the true ownership of the Beldarkri system, the Beldarkri brothers have been ousted from their control and arrest warrants have been issued for brothers Dirk and Darnell for crimes against common sense. It appears that having taken over the system, instead of working towards stability, enrichment of the system, and themselves, they were caught red-handed trying to unscrew the toilet bowl from the floor and pinch all the light bulbs in onesie. Commander Psycho Cow has been at pains to reassure everyone that his crack team of ninjas are indeed working to restore it to the hands of the brother and sisterhood of Terra Mater. Though in his efforts to remove the Beldarkri brothers, he may have accidentally left the system administration offices unlocked while pointing the police in the direction of the kleptomaniacally inclined Dirk and Darnell, which left them open for the defence party of Nestrond to install themselves, much to the annoyance of Terra Mater and all of her brothers and sisters, who promptly declared war on the defence party. It appears to be going well at the moment, with the defence party firmly on the back foot and the Terramations having gained the upper hand on the first day. Determined to send them back to Ross 788 and Ross 680 systems, and oddly not Nestrond where they're from, the Terramations have pulled out all the stops in the hopes of undoing all the do that both the brothers and the Nestrondians have done to the internal decor of the admin offices. Meanwhile, Dirk and Darnell made an explosive exit from 1Z by blasting open a rear hatch on the station and diving into space, where they were picked up by a passing adder with false identification plates and presumably squirreled away to their cave hideout on a nearby asteroid to plan their next rather bizarre heist. Rumours are that they've been seen at the nav beacon in system, demanding that commanders pay a sunlight tax, are, as of yet, unconfirmed. Commander Psycho Cow is likely to be moving to pastures new in forthcoming weeks, though whether he's heading for the No-E system to assist Hutton in our uncontested takeover of the system is also unconfirmed. More details on this one in the BGS News.
With detail related to recent CGs also being saved for later in this show, we have uncovered signs of a group of commanders who shockingly don't understand the purpose of trucking CGs and have been publicly demanding that no one bother with them, as no one likes them. Alvin has issued an edict that such poor souls should, rather than being ostracised, sent to Coventry, shunned and apparently booed at every opportunity, be given a re-education in the benefits of participation in PWP. Working together as a team, not for the enrichment of their own bank accounts, but for the good of the galaxy. Okay, it's very likely that it would lead to personal enrichment, but that's a side effect, surely. Their point was that while combat CGs appear to be able to be completed in little under 24 hours in most cases, trade and trucking CGs are boring, as they last an entire week. I mean, Imagine that! Something to do that occupies your time for the week instead of being a flash in the pan. Miss it and miss out. By the way, did you miss your decal / new pew pew double engineered with a Huff laser award? There might have been a few mid-trucking tweaks to the recent trucking CG, and some rather nice rewards offered. But the biggest reward is likely to have been the smiling faces of all the people over in Rhea receiving shipment after shipment. Rumours that a number of commanders were just dropping off 1 ton in the hopes of flying away with the promised super caustic, can't be eaten by Thargoids, Gnosis, avian cheese resistant cargo racks, and most probably true. But as Rhea appears to be able to manufacture literally thousands of these things at relatively low costs, it's a win-win, as every ton delivered is more aid for the people of Rhea. Of course, the truckers of the galaxy had to do a bit of a facepalm when one of the trucking CG deniers, who, to be fair to them, did change their tune when they realised there was a great reward, went on the galactic forums to ask, so, what's this caustic cargo rack thing actually good for? And why would anyone want one? They didn't seem impressed with a reply that involved the words trucking, caustic goods, and future CG.
Welcome to week 101 of Too Hot, Too Messy, Hutton's attempt to deliver mugs and gin to every station, surface-based settlement, outpost and outhouse in the Milky Way. Last week was a bit of a bumper for deliveries. Commanders dropped off 752 mugs and 828 gin. That's a lot of stations made safe from the effects of mods, the mug ownership deficiency syndrome. There are no new members to the 1000 Club this week, and Stereo MD only has associate membership until they get 897 mugs delivered up to 1000. There have been no Hutton runs this week, so the approaches are clear of congestion. Small pad availability is rated as please land here, you'll like me, and the medium pad is rated as land here, I have cookies. If you decide to make the trip out to Hutton, could you pick up a few things we're running low on? A big fruit and nut Toblerone, 2 packets of firelighters, and a 1982 Metal Mickey Annual. Someone has already done the dot to dot in the one I have. I'll give you the money when you get here.
GoogleNet, the Galnet broadcasting phenomenon, which installs cameras in commander ships and then sends them out around the galaxy recording and dispensing to the masses the commander's reaction to what's been going on, has announced this week a range of new additions to their weekly guest lineup. There have been a number of calls for the show to be axed as it's exploitative, and it might have been proven to cause brain damage, though whether that's for the presenters or the audience, the scientific reports didn't stipulate. Hutton has been a part of this phenomenon since day one of the programme's launch, and we quite enjoy people tuning in to see our reaction to Chinese rocket scientists do the strangest things and what President Hudson did on his holidays. Supplemented by guest appearances by Giles Brandreth the 15th in a teddy bear jumper pulling faces at alien bodies, the new intake includes a number of good friends to Hutton and DaveCon, including KT Chaos and the ever erudite man about the stars, Commander Andrew It's Not That Kind of Johnson. We look forward to watching them fly ships around the galaxy, but we fly our ships around the galaxy and hope their hoverboards and snazzy jackets are as lovely as ours are. We still haven't found anyone small enough to enjoy the teensy tiny yoga mats though.
Commander Eric Bucknaked, recently roused from retirement by rumours of Lacon's latest launch, has been seen around the galaxy once again this week, with a number of commanders having spotted the erudite spokesman spokesperson for Lakon Spaceways, hanging out at the Squirrel's Nest bar in Pleon 4. Never want to be far away from boisterous companions, he's been taking the opportunity to reacquaint himself with the highways and byways of the galaxy and what's been going on since he was last around these here parts. Propping up the private bar at Squirrel's Nest, he has been regaling the regulars with wild tales of his days as a pirate. Not the spacefaring, give me all that tasty cargo kind, but the waterworld sailing, eye patch wearing, one-legged, hook-handed and says "yah" in a Texan accent kind. We're not sure if Texas ever had famous pirates other than Tex from Super Ted, but on this far-flung waterworld he was known as the Texan terror of the oceans. And when he wasn't doing that, apparently he was sojourning as a gun for hire on the kind of world that has enormous tumbleweed storms that circle the equator, swing door saloons and troughs to get your bath or fill of water. However, it appears that he's hung up his spurs, swapped his wooden leg for a real one, the wonders of modern regenerative medicine, and might just be seen on the Hutton Run tables once more in forthcoming months. You never know, he might even deliver a few mugs and gin for the Too Hot Too Messy campaign.
Welcome to this week's BGS Roundup, where we take a quick glance around the door of the Hutton Situation Room and then try to remember what we saw. Paul Reckner is leading a campaign for Hutton to colonise Gnoe, begins with G, with all of its ringed gas giants and icy worlds. He's parked his fleet carrier Omar's Big Tent in system to support commanders and is asking for your help. Alvin's Mercy has also arrived in system to offer ship support services for Hutton commanders. And would you believe it? We've only gone and kicked off an election with the Noe partnership. You know, it's almost as though the galaxy wants us to be there. Currently, we own no assets and have influence of 12%, which is a great place to start from. And as predicted last week, PSPF LF2 has indeed tripped over into an expansion. Who knows where we'll land this time? Let's hope it's somewhere nice. Maybe even somewhere with a funny name like Wetwang or Little Piddle. Well, wherever we end up, let's leave PSPF alone for a while until it sorts itself out. Other high-rolling systems to leave alone are Stein 2051, Wise 0855-0714, Funman and Star, Wolf 1481, Wolf 359, LP 245-10, LP 532-81, Wolf 124, and George Pantazis, which are all above the 60% influence level. Besides all of the expansion states, there are some booms. The booms are in 36 Ophiuchi, Kokari, and Epsilon Eridani. The continued and sustained investment phase in Barnard Star continues into this week. Narensis sees us in the election with the Green Party of Senemi. Again. What is it with these people? We also have a big election in LP 804-27 with the local Green Party. It would be nice to win there since we don't own anything yet. And that's about it. But what does it all mean? Well, I have no idea, but here's a wild stab in the dark. You can help Paul to take over Noe. He will be putting updates on the Hutton Facebook page, and since there's an election on, we recommend peaceful activities to make the most of your contribution. Since we don't own a station there yet, non-murdery mission running and passenger trips are the way to go. If you want to truck it, then run missions for Hutton and LP 804-27 or Narensis, where again, peaceful missions will work best to help us win those elections. You can help Paul take over Noe. Oh, I said that already. You can also trade and run missions in the boom systems. And if you want to shoot it, then listen for Vulkarius' briefing, where you can find out which of the Thargoid Titans is getting a kicking this week. And that's it for this week's Hutton BGS bit.
And relax. Nothing caught fire. Yet. And the record
Well,
button did
didn't
get hit.
seriously catch fire. It caught fire.
No. Apart from me
Yet.
swallowing one of the crayons and getting all the names mixed up, and no, well, they're very tasty crayons. They taste slightly of almond. Anyway, well, it's I'm back.
Welcome back.
How was it?
Back.
Peaceful?
Seam
free?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Definitely no 3-minute blanks in the middle of any broadcasts anywhere.
Yeah, it's
Well-
it was mainly seam free, wasn't it?
Well, it's not
Well,
bad.
see.
I mean,
well,
Lithobreaker
yeah.
can normally be trusted to. Actually, I can see his face is still up on the panel here. Let's just see if we can. No. Which one's on Litho? There we go. Bye, Lithobreaker. There we go. Lithobreaker's gone from the screen. No Lithobreaker this week.
No, he's too busy eating Toulouse sausages.
Yeah, he has been sending special pictures of his Toulouse sausage. I don't know how it got through the sensors, but it looks like it's well tanned anyway. But
That's
yes,
the best we can say for it.
yes. I mean, we are actually hoping he's going to be back in time for ECM, and they do let him escape for that weekend. Otherwise, I'm a bit doomed on a number of counts on that one.
Doomed.
But doomed, you're doomed.
Yeah, we're all doomed.
But we have a nearly full house. We've got Amelia. Good evening, Amelia.
Hello.
We have Mooncake somewhere in the background.
She probably will be shouting throughout the night.
So if you do hear an occasional meow, it's not Alvin trying out his impressions anymore.
It's not Alvin on Duolingo.
No.
Learning how to speak
Trying
cat.
to get the high score. Yes. It is Mooncake. We have Flossy.
Hello.
And we have, I can see a pile of text from you this week in the script coming up.
Yeah,
on the
it's
Do
all
Whatever
been
Flossy
happening
Says.
this week. Yeah.
But we'll find out whether it went well, it went badly, whether everybody complaining about Trucking Ones being no good were talking out of their asp, and people asking about the rewards were similarly not paying attention. But I'm sure you've got the details. There was something funny happened halfway, wasn't there? But you're gonna tell us about this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have the apology officer
We're doomed.
and their rather posh alter ego.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Is that you on the wireless?
I have questions in a minute for you.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. All
I
about
thought that was brilliant, by the way.
I don't know. It wasn't. I fluffed it about 6 times.
I thought it was
Yes,
brilliant.
therefore, it was totally Hutton brilliant. It's
Yes.
just a
Very
different
Hutton.
kind of brilliant. And we are joined by Commander Vulkarius.
Good evening, Hutton Orbital.
My goodness, I have not adjusted your volume, and you have just caused the brown noise generator under my desk to kick in.
That's not a brown noise generator. It's not normally a brown noise generator.
It's not normally, but the bass is a little bit high there. So, hello, Vulkarius.
Check.
Check,
Okay
check,
now?
sound check. Yes, that's better.
Right.
You are not
Yeah.
causing seismic disturbances somewhere on the south coast anymore.
Yeah.
But,
But good evening, Hutton Orbital.
I did check to see whether there were any new videos, but there aren't. So we're going to be hopefully getting an update on what's gone boom or not, or what we're doing next, coming up later in the show, hopefully.
Yeah. You definitely are.
Good. Excellent.
That's
And
good, 'cause
Amelia...
the more murdery among us need to know what it is if they kill this week.
Well, especially as they're getting a bit murderous, as there was a trucking CG, and people like the more murderous people want to go and blow things up. So
Yeah.
we're hoping we're in the home stretch now. That's what I'm hoping.
I got to ask, is it GoggleNet? Or GoogleNet?
I'm sure it said GoogleNet.
It should have said
That's what I
GoggleNet.
thought.
It's like Gogglebox, but
I'm
on
going to
Galnet.
scroll up and
Yeah,
have a look.
that's what I
Yes.
thought, yeah.
Did I mistype
Yeah, that's what
it
I was
again?
thinking. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I've got questions.
No,
because I've been
you
away
didn't
for a few
mistype
weeks.
it. I missaid it.
I
I
missaid it as well, then.
misspoke. Yeah.
I misspoke too, then.
You miss.
And I was thinking, Goggle.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, a couple of people sitting there watching the telly. It's some
Yeah.
kind of infinite loop thing going on. I wonder whether they ever show them their own program and it gets one of those sort of crazy, endless pictures going on.
And the universe folds in itself.
Absolutely. And you move your head and they'll go a bit wibbly. But so first questions first for the apology officer.
Yes.
So we know all about the situation over in Beldarkry, which is now reverted to not a disaster or a PR disaster.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
After they turned up in Hutton's Discord and went, "Oi!" And we said, "It's nothing to do with Hutton." And they went, "Well, they're Hutton commanders." I said, "Well, they may have flown with Hutton once or twice and started the Hutton radio station and be broadcasting every single week and things, but they weren't acting as Hutton."
Everybody knows Hutton commanders live their own lives.
Absolutely. We don't prescribe. Well, no, we do have a couple of rules, and it's basically be awesome to each other. And this sort of fell down the cracks between a few things. So Commander Psycho hadn't realised that he'd caused some upset with the Brother and Sisterhood of Terramater, who were claiming the system as theirs, even though his name's over the door.
Yes.
Because he bought the sign back in the day. So he was then helping them put them back in charge, but then unfortunately they'd done such a good job of kicking the Brother or Sisterhood of Terramater that they ended up on the bottom. So the wrong people ended up in charge of the system. Some foreigners, I don't know, some other system. But it's all levelling itself out, and it will be back in the theoretical.
I do remember you saying there's a question.
Yeah, well, there is a question.
This goes a question for you.
So that was just that bit's all sorted, but then obviously I don't know what's going on in No We, and you mentioned No We a lot. Is it dehydration causing this?
No, Gnowi or Gnowi, because it's got a G on the front like Gnosis, is a station we expanded into about 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, not long ago anyway. And it doesn't have any other player factions in it.
So we're not going to offend anyone if we have No We?
Shouldn't.
Okay.
Shouldn't.
It's a good start.
But, yeah. So I think the idea is that we are going to be, Hutton are going to be campaigning to take over this system because I quite like it. It's got quite a lot of ring gas giants in it. There's quite a lot of kind of icy worlds as well, but
a good place for type 8.
Good place for mining, good place for bounty hunting, good place for all that stuff. And as Paul says, it's one of the last unclaimed systems in the kind of that whole area.
So it's not as if somebody was there, but they're now not in charge. They're not even in. There's no other group in the system at all.
There's no other player group in the system. I can bring it up on EDSM and have a quick look. Hold on.
So on that basis, then, so we can take it over. We're not going to offend anybody, but we don't own anything yet. I think your message said we don't own anything yet, which means we
don't
can't
own anything yet.
But so we can't do trading and the usual.
There's not much point trading then because you're really just if you're going to sell stuff at the stations, you're going to help the faction that's in charge that owns that station, and we don't own any stations. So,
but you can go and still see Lael, Progenitor Lael, Wolf, or whoever.
Yeah, jump in, do some missions. Do some Hutton missions. Passenger missions help as well. And the thing in an election situation, things like bounty hunting and combat don't really do much.
Unless they're Hutton bounties, but then you end up benefiting the system owner.
They just don't do much. If you want to maximise your influence and things like that and what you're doing, it's best to do the peaceful stuff. The shooty stuff isn't much help in election.
Right, and so we've got 12%, which means we're on the same as the No We partnership.
Yep.
Who are currently in civil unrest and bust.
We are in election with
they are. No, the No We partnership are also at the same time in civil unrest and bust at the same time as an election, which means should be fairly straightforward.
I've just got them in election here.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I've got them in. Okay, well, maybe. But there's a few of us on the 10-12, so the Independents, the Energy, and us, and No We partnership. And then the owners of the system are the LHS 263 Universal Corporation.
Yeah, I don't think they're local.
No, they're not local. So we're going to have to, once we get clear of this lot, then do a lot of work. Do we get an asset if we win this one?
I've got no idea.
Let's have a look. Oh, yes,
we get. You can always get an asset of some kind if you win.
Well, unless they don't own one. Kellyanne Port, apparently, is what we're aiming for. Kellyanne Port has a commodity market and outfitting, and it's a little outpost, a bit like Hutton Orbital. But it does mean that we'll have somewhere. It's got a universal cartographics, whatever. So it does have somewhere we can start selling data at, that kind of stuff. once we get
you'll also notice there's quite a few fleet carriers in that system. I think mainly for the mining and things like that, you know.
Let's just have a look at the fleet carriers. 25 listed currently.
Yeah, and at least 2 of them are Hutton.
Yeah, FTM Alvin's
but
Mercy and Omar's Big Tent.
Omar's Big Tent. But what you'll find is, in terms of stations, there only is the 2 outposts and a few surface things. So,
Yes, just glancing down. There's the Salty Seaman carrier, not one of ours.
Yes.
And the Selfish Bustard. I've got to be careful. It is a bustard.
A bustard, not a bastard.
Yeah, those aren't ours. And the Battlestar Galactica seems to have swung by as well.
I don't think that's the actual Battlestar Galactica, you know.
I hope not. Otherwise, we've got a Cylon incursion happening in Hutton Space, or what's soon to be Hutton Space. But so other than that, there are 2 little Kellyanne Port and Abershelley City.
Yes.
Which are the 2 little orbitals that are there.
Yeah. And there's kind of surfacey things as well, but
yeah, there's loads of them.
There's loads of
Astrophysics
those,
forums and laboratories.
genetics.
Genetics labs.
Korea's genetics.
Korea's genetics, yes. I do notice it does state that there might be an interstellar factor in the system.
Yeah, I think interstellar factors turn up. They're kind of more dependent on system states and things, aren't they? So it might be.
I don't think it's state. I think it's security. I've never seen an ISF disappear due to state, but I'm pretty sure it's like low security.
Yeah,
you get one.
We promise to make the place nice and secure.
Yeah.
Yes, when we take it over. But in terms of bodies, you're absolutely right. It's a Class K star. Gas giants with water lives, icy body, icy body, icy body, icy body. That's what we need in this kind of temperature in the UK. Lots of icy bodies. With major water geysers.
Water geysers.
Carbon dioxide geysers. And more geysers. Major water geysers. Yeah. And water magma on some planets. Water magma.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how water magma works.
If anybody in the chat knows what on earth water magma is,
I'm thinking. Well, magma's underground, isn't it? Water magma. Who knows? Is it?
It's also known. Here we go as juvenile water. There we go.
I think it. Yeah, I just typed in water magma, and the name magmatic water appeared, which is probably what it should be called.
Why do I keep envisioning Dr. Evil saying magma?
Yes, I'm getting the same kind
magma. Yeah, I think we all did.
Yes. An abundance of magmatic water.
All I'm getting is.
Oh, here we go. Sorry.
I'm getting all Minecraft stuff.
An abundance of magmatic water has been shown to lead to high-grade deformation. Don't know
defamation. What it accuses you of various crimes that it has no proof. Or
right. Is this what they've got on Pluto, where it overturns the surface? It gets turned over every once in a while by this kind of ice. It's ice, but it's in a kind of it's not liquid, but it acts like a liquid, something like that. And it turns over every once in a while, gets pushed up and over the top of the old ice.
Volcanic eruptions, and they create apparently magma chambers. Amelia, are you getting the Dr. Evil magma chamber vibe on that one?
Magma
chamber.
Rhyolitic magma chambers.
Well, yeah, you should have said. Should have led with that.
Wait a minute, liquid ice, isn't this just water?
No, I don't think it's liquid ice in terms of.
Okay, we need some canon scientists. We need. LCU, where are you? Anyway, well, I might have to go investigate.
A pen protector and a white coat.
Yeah, I might have to go and investigate to find out what on earth this is all about.
Yeah.
It looks like an interesting place. I might have to visit that one and see what because you've seen there's various sort of surface eruptions of ice eruptions or whatever on some planets. So we might have to go and see what this one's all about, and if they're different.
What's it? Yeah, the thing is as well, that one the temperature's only 81 Kelvin. It's cold. It's very cold.
Only 81 Kelvin. That's a bit nippy.
Yes.
I mean, that's more than
Yeah,
a cold.
it's
That's
a bit nippy.
Oh, that's North Sea. That is. That's
like gravity-wise 0.08. That's not bad.
I mean, nothing's too solid at that point, but it's mostly solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, here's what it might look like on screen right now if we were to go and look at it, possibly. Maybe. There you go. I seem to have a spare video, one of those lying around. So that was my first question. The second question was obviously about Galnet.
Yes.
About the new...
Not GoogleNet.
Not GoogleNet.
the new influx of people that broadcast them flying around in their spaceships, watching other people flying around the spaceships, etc. There has been a new intake in the last few...
As they
days.
used to say in Game for a Laugh, watching us, watching you, watching us.
Uh-huh. Or was it knowing me, knowing you?
That was knowing me, knowing you. With
Right,
Alan
okay.
Partridge.
Yeah, so new partners.
Yes. Is that what that's about?
Yes. So they have invited Commander Andrew, it's not that kind of Johnson, and Mal for the Win, Katie Chaos, Science Keeper, Stormseeker Gaming, and DSS_Lev, and either it's Alce Wolf, I think, to the partner program and given them hoverboards.
Oh, did they get their hoverboards as well?
Apparently so, and Twitch drops, which I don't know whether they're live on ours at the moment or not. Maybe not. And
I have the Hutton. I've got the Hutton hoverboard on the wall behind me.
Yes. Who's got the little teensy tiny yoga mat?
Oh, that's Commander Chicks.
Ah, right. Well, we still haven't worked out what that's used for. Maybe
It's for the
mooncake.
it's
Do you
for
think
the
it's
fox in his
mooncake
garden.
sized,
I thought the fox in his garden was using it.
or is it a crash mat for doing those kind of stunts you used to do at school? With the evil PE teacher that made you jump things, and only gave you a crash mat that was about a centimetre thick and didn't deaden the floor in any way whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, those were my sort of questions. I mean, I'm going to save the CG questions for Flossy's CG bit because I don't want spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask a question. While I was away, did we have a Frontier live stream?
No. Last Wednesday of every month.
No, I mean there was. I heard you mention that they'd gone live with 21 hours of nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing with 900 to 1,000 viewers watching it.
Well, you say it was nothing.
I
happened to spot on one of the other outlets, there was an article by somebody, I think it was on LinkedIn, about there being something more there. And how impressed they were with their colleagues and what they'd done with the live broadcast and what was hiding in it. I think we might have missed a trick. I think Vulkarius may have been right.
I could. That sounds like a hoax to me, but I mean, we can but check it out. I suppose.
Well, no, because it was on on a professional site as opposed to just a random internet forum.
Yeah, 17 hours in, Arthur came in, said Banter Clipper, and kept walking right across the screen.
Well, I mean, it may or may not have been a hoax, but having seen it on something like LinkedIn, a commentary about 21 hours of something, I
didn't realise it was 21
maybe,
hours.
Well, it may be, but like what I'm hearing there is kind of the same arguments for like continuing to look for Raxler and such. Like it's sort of the same thing.
But it was somebody from Frontier who said it, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm just trying to find. When you see something, I should have bookmarked that.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And now I can't find it.
You should have bookmarked that.
For me, that's. For me, that's
Did you dream it?
Yeah, I'm just hunting through, but I read it. It was somewhere like that, and I now can't find it, which is frustrating me.
Did a feral donkey come in halfway through and say, "David, it's time to wake up now. We're landing."
Commander Terakov in the chat, there was a Planet Coaster 2 announcement right off the end of the 24 hours.
Okay.
Apparently.
Well, there we go. there was a something, but apparently there was a noisescape or soundscape that was evolving over time during it. Possibly.
Some commanders were running it through the spectral analysis, and they didn't see anything. But then, if it was over the entire 20 odd hours, then they wouldn't have seen it. So.
Oh, potentially. I'm just trying to. I can't. I can't
really
find
need
the comments
to get
at
out
all.
more, don't they?
But anyway, there was something happening. But it was a Frontier live stream. But it was not that kind of live stream. But apparently, it was something. But it wasn't spaceships, and no, it wasn't the Panther Clipper yet.
So. Yeah, we got some. There appears to be some corroboration that it was Planet Coaster 2 towards the end of the stream.
Mm.
Is that the one that the Dastardly Don retired to go and do some kind of? Oh no, that was the evil roller coasters where you can make people die horribly by not completing a roller coaster and firing them off the end of it.
That sounds like Planet Coaster 2.
Planet Coaster 2. That was the one with that language they invented, wasn't it? Especially, I can't remember what it was called, the language they invented for Planet Coaster.
Planco,
that was the one. So I'm curious to see whether Planco, the language, has evolved. But well done, that team. And also, not sort of related to Frontier, they used to run a little section of their company called a studio where they were broadcasting other people's stuff. It was Frontier Foundry, wasn't it? That they ran for a while, launching other people's games.
I didn't know that was like a show, but I'm pretty sure they still have that publication arm going.
Well, Frontier Foundry in their annual reports, I think they were winding it down, and there was a section of that Sally used to look after, which did Deliver Us Mars. I don't know if you spotted that one, the one with the Moon Bear. And you went to explore Mars and things, but they've parted company with Koei-Ken and Frontier Foundry, and I think Koei-Ken or something, and they've done a Kickstarter for Deliver Us Home, the third instalment, which was on this week, and it looks really good. So definitely backed that one. It's set in space, but it's story based, really good for the Steam Deck kind of thing. But look for Deliver Us Home if you're interested in that one. Okay, so there were no Frontier live streams. Do we have any space news this week, by the way, before I actually line up all the buttons for space news?
We do have one piece of space news this week.
Okay, so I suppose I ought to go and find the button for space news. So shall we just go over to the music section and hopefully push...
When you don't know where to get more space news, 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 space news.
Dead exciting. And actually, I've just glanced at what this is. This is actually dead exciting.
It's dead exciting. Humans are going to go to the moon and live in a hole, which may or may not have been the Clanger's old house. We don't know yet. We won't know until we get there.
So this article is all about a cave that's been discovered on the moon. Now, we all know that moons don't have caves. I've flown over many, many hundreds of moons, and I've never seen a cave.
This is the first cave they found on the moon, or the Earth's moon.
Oh, the moon.
The moon. So they reckon it might lead into a cave system. So there's like a big hole in the ground, and a part of that hole has got overhangs at the top. So there's a bit of shade for the direct sunlight and the radiation and all the nasty stuff you want to hide for. It's about 100 meters deep, and they reckon that it possibly goes into a system of caves and things underground, under moon. So yeah, it's quite exciting. It means there is a place that you could actually set up a base.
Yeah, because obviously we don't have the protection on the moon against all the sort of solar radiation and all sorts. And but I mean, this looks very much like if you go to Mexico, because obviously there are no rivers there, and all the rivers are underground, and then the ceilings fall in and create these cenotes with little holes in the ceiling and great big caves under them with some really cool water. But I mean, I've seen a picture here, and they've managed to get a radar view from a satellite at an angle to sort of try and work out. But yeah, it's 100 meters across, and they're saying 130 to 170 meters deep. That's a big hole.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things he said was that any astronauts would probably have to use jetpacks to get up and out, or a lift. You think, build a lift. Don't make it easy.
Easy
Don't blind
jetpacks.
jetpacks.
Oh,
Yeah, just build a lift.
It looks an awful lot like a sinkhole. Are you sure it's just not been the government fracking the moon?
Well, you never know. We won't know until we get there.
I mean, is it an asteroid that's hit a piece of thinner crust and burst through?
That's what I'm thinking. It's as if it's hit, something's hit it, and it's been hollow underneath that. It's just like you say, like a layer of crust and a big.
Because it doesn't look like there's been an eruption there back from when the moon was more geologically active.
No, there hasn't been an eruption, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of. You know, when something hits the moon, there's like a splash mark, if you like.
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be any of that.
Well, there seems to be a bit of a splash mark to the left, like something's hit at a slightly oblique angle. That just could be the light.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are moonquakes, aren't there?
Yeah. They also reckon that it's probably left over from the moon was geologically active. So when it did have lava, there'll be lava tubes and things. That's what they're thinking. And that might have been like a lava chamber. So it's only had a thick... magma. So
magma. Amelia's going, look at the knees.
Liquid hot magma.
Scott Evil.
Yes. Did you go to Evil Vet School?
I shall call it the Alan Parsons Project.
Yes.
So apparently we first realised there were probably caves on the moon around 50 years ago, and then apparently in 2010 the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter took pictures of the pits that could be cave entrances. But I mean, this thing's actually, I wouldn't say visible by the naked eye, but it's not, it is actually very visible with a decent telescope. You can actually find this thing.
It's pretty big, and it's in the Sea of Tranquility. The Mar Tranquillus, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, the Sea of Tranquility is a pretty big place, but it's in the Sea of Tranquility where the moon landings happened.
So we know it's a nice flat place where we're not going to land rockets and they're going to fall over, apart from down the big hole. I mean, this is going to be well, let's see how close we can get our rocket to the really big hole to save us a bit of a drive. Oops,
I don't know what's actually down the big hole. It might not be flat down the big hole, because they reckon there might be like a debris pile in the middle.
Oh, where the ceiling fell in, yes.
Yeah, so it might slope off to the edges.
You see, then there's should we send something and drop it in the hole? But then when we get there, is there going to be loads of trash down the bottom of the hole?
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to park next to it? Because if they do want to go explore it and have people with jetpacks go down it, it's a case of, well, how accurate is your moon landing?
I nearly said something very silly there. I nearly said send one of those wee helicopters. And then I realised it could spin its blades all day. It's not going anywhere.
For the same reason, it doesn't. It wouldn't work going under a tunnel or even in any sort of structure. Yeah.
There's no way for it.
So the only way we're going to explore this one's with thrusters.
Yes.
Oh, that thrust! You remember the game?
No.
Where you were in a cave just like that, and you had to get your little triangular spaceship down into the cave, and then pick something up which was on a piece of string, and it swung. Yeah. I'm getting that kind of vibe off this one.
You mean like Flappy Bird?
Or like Bob versus the Replicons?
Just like
Crossy
that.
Road.
Yep. Or I'm getting that kind of vibe off it. From the old BBC micro games with little triangular spaceships and caves you had to fly through, and
that is the future of human colonies on the moon.
It's incidentally, I think I'm going with any other explanation than it was hit by something, because I'm pretty sure that would have made more like a crater.
You think it's just collapsed?
Well, like if something volcanic, just any other explanation than it was smacked by a rock, because I don't think it would make that cylindrical.
No, it wouldn't
shape.
make it. Looking at the picture, the very first picture, just scrolling up to the first picture, that definitely has a lip on the edge, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's overhangy.
Yeah, it's an overhanging lip there, so you never know. It could be a really big cave under there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's exciting stuff. I mean, how we would do Moonbase Alpha in that big hole, or is it an eye looking at us? That's more creepy. Then you get Unicron vibes from Transformers and planet-eating moons, and it all goes a bit wrong.
I think you're going to find it's a big hole full of dirt.
See, I think it looks more like a belly button than an eye.
A belly button on the moon?
The moon has an innie, not an outie.
Yeah. Oh, we need to check for lint. Someone needs to go in there and check it for lint.
Well, yes, belly button lint.
Not
it's
the
not a rock
David.
pile. It's not a rock pile. No. It's belly button lint.
It's belly button fluff.
Yes. And talking of belly button fluff, no, sorry, not belly button fluff. Is that all of our space news for this week?
I think that's all we've got. Yeah, that's all the fluff we have for this week.
Nothing's gone up, nothing's gone whoosh, nothing's gone boom. No Chinese
that I'm
rockets.
aware of, no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in which case it's time for this, and then Vulkarius, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. We'll do this.
When you don't know where to get more space news, 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 space news.
Still an epic picture of floor mopping guy then with his double-ended mop. And Alan and Steve.
I like the rubber ducky in the corner there.
And the rubber ducky and the banana for scale. Right, switching to your studio, sir.
Well, slightly slower week last week, but we still took a good few control systems away from Titan Thor. It was 14 control plus 1 Spire site, and all invasions defended. So not bad. Given that there were also unprecedented conflicting reports, one of them said everyone was preoccupied with something called a group objective. Others claimed instead that there was a collective achievement, a public project. We don't know yet, but if you stay tuned to Hutton Orbital Radio, you'll get the latest updates on that story as it unfolds. This week, we have a bunch of Rabelaisian Ilwillies invading the Almar system, plus 6 other invasions across the galaxy. Once Almar's defended, please then fly over to HIP 18075. That's HIP 18075. This is actually a control system, not an invasion system. However, it's also a counter-strike system. And it actually has one of those attacked ports, which were supposed to happen now, after the Thargoids were supposed to have changed strategy, supposedly. So, aside from that, the biggest thing we need is just direct control progress. Basically, anywhere you see the purple Counter-Strike icon, and we haven't already recaptured it, of course. No need to be finifugal. If you can get some good progress going, everyone's going to see it, and we'll try to finish off as many systems as we can. There should be AX conflict zones in all of those Counter-Strike systems, 28 of them this week. If you've just acquired some new anti-corrosion cargo racks for some reason, then of course running research still works well. And of course, if you have a good stealthy Python ready to rescue biostorage capsules from the Titan, those will help all 28 Counter-Strike systems. Pro tip, by the way, this from Commander Demisarov D on the Frontier Forum. One of the best rescuers out there. The first round of Titan patrols is usually the most thorough. Get started on the rescues, but be ready to lose the patrols in the asteroids. Then when you come back round, pass below the Titan, where the core is, infantry, and drop 1 limpet and 1 of your survivors as a decoy, lurking around for quite a while. It'll give you a whole bunch of time to rescue dozens more without nearly as much threat to monitor on the radar. But yes, direct roll progress if you can. Spire progress is welcome, but please note that the 3 remaining Spire sites at Titan Thor are a limited resource. In fact, actually all 3 remaining Titans are pretty deficient in Spire sites compared to the number of systems we need to clear. So definitely hold off on the Spires, make them last a bit longer, because it'll be much easier in the end if we keep them around so they can boost the stronger systems by the Titan instead of what we're doing at the moment. And that's it.
Ooh, okay. And sorry, I have questions on this one as well. So you're saying about these things that were supposed to be arriving, these attacked.
Oh yes, yeah. So it was a few weeks ago when the Thargoids changed their strategy. So now they only attack inhabited systems, and the innermost 3 at each Titan go straight to invasion. Around that same time. I think, well, what appears to be the case is that human forces have also changed their strategy slightly. In the Counter-Strike systems, there is supposed to be, the claim from Paul Crowther was each Counter-Strike like inhabited Counter-Strike system should get an attacked port, so that the port will have, or is supposed to have, restock, like repair and restock. It won't have any missions, but it has a conflict zone around it, and you can restock at the port. So it's kind of a semi-online. I don't know if like commanders have to do AX reactivation to make that happen, given that this is the first one we've seen. But that's the idea. So the point is, people who normally defend invasions can go to that port instead. They still have a conflict zone there, and they can restock at the port, just like at an invasion system. Hence, telling everyone to go there.
Ah, right.
Was,
I was just envisaging we had some kind of new content where stations were under attack, or settlements, or you know what I mean. There was some new kind of attack thing going on.
It's the same idea as an invasion system, just without any missions available. So basically, human forces have they've restored that port. They've got it back online. It can restock you and repair you, and the Thargoids are also attacking it. So.
Okay, so it's cool. I mean, it's fun to go.
Yeah, it's a way to get commanders into a control system who normally just defend invasion systems.
Right. Understood. It all makes sense now. So if we're not doing the we can go and help out doing the variety of things that you've suggested there. So an actual invasion system was Almar, that's ALMAR, and the control system with the attacked port, HIP 18075. And are the remaining Titans feeling lonely yet? Because we're definitely dwindling a bit.
It's not like we can ask them. I don't quite know how they're feeling.
Well, it was me and 7 of my mates, and then it was me and 6 of my mates, and then it was me and it's pretty soon it's going to be just one little Titan there going, hello, guys, come back.
Yes, so let's see. We've taken out Hadad, Tyrannus. So above and below them, they're kind of like I suppose Thor down below those two has 2 Eucaligons at this point.
Yes, he's feeling a bit out on a limb, shall we say? A Thargoid limb.
That was neighbours whose houses are on fire.
Yes. Yes. I wonder whether they're radioing home yet to say, we got any spares, guys? Could do with some backup here. These poor Thargoids have been sent out, and all their mates decided rather than to come and join in and stand up and help, I'd go to the other side of the bar and pretend they've never met them.
I'm not sure. So the Thargoid deep space communication seems to be roaring really loudly. And if you remember, CO Jinai managed to translate the initial roar from the Proteus wave roughly as we see them. So I'm fairly sure they can't just communicate something like we can. Our communication's way better than theirs. They just have to yell.
Really, really angrily and loudly.
But yeah, I suppose if Titan Thor was to look kind of upwards across the bubble and say, "Oi, Casio, we could use a hand here."
It's gone awfully quiet over there, guys. There's no roaring. I hear some screaming and some squeaking. But
I'm fairly sure Sioji and I would be able to tell us.
I mean, it's sort of looking along the timeline about when things are happening. Obviously, we're expecting the Python 2 to be on general release around the time of ECM.
We should
be losing one more Titan by around then.
That's a little bit optimistic, I think.
Okay.
So unlike the previous ones, if it were this prior to Indra, the amount of systems that Thor's got at the moment, it's 88 or so it's like just under 100. The distances are the type that the Imperial Navy Intervention Rescue would be able to clear up several we're talking 20 a week type stuff. Yeah, thereabout. As it is now, after everything was rebalanced a bit, it has to be a little bit more. Well, we can still take a good amount per week if we do it every evening, but it's not as many as 20, not all on by ourselves. So,
right. Will we be looking on slower. Target for sort of around the autumn kind of time, end of September, October-ish time for whatever's coming next, maybe? Or the end-ish.
I'm just looking at
it.
So let's see the date now. That's really difficult to use the mic at the same time as opening the calendar. Oh, there we go. Okay,
You want to try yes, doing a radio show with as many themes as you can at the same time as opening it.
So today's the 18th of July.
Yep.
So 1 to 3 weeks after that, so that should be the 7th of August. That should be when we get the Python Mark II for everyone, and that should be Elite Community Meet Week as well.
Yep.
After the 7th of August, yeah.
Only a handful of tickets left.
Let's see, 3 weeks. Oh, it'll be a close one. I probably shouldn't underestimate commanders, especially now we've got some new toys available to help us.
Well, there's also the fear of missing out. But I want to see the Thargoid content before it's all gone. Last gasp.
Well, I suppose. Although, I don't. Is that more to do with the Titans or like the control systems? Because I'm fairly sure
the Titans end of things. I think people are going to want to, when we're down to the last one, anybody who hasn't seen it, like, this is your last chance to see it, guys. There'll be more people going.
Well, if you want a prediction, I wouldn't think that would be the last ever. I'm fairly sure. I've probably said before, the entire sequence, like when you get the unidentified interstellar anomalies roaring across the galaxy, and you can see them on the FSS. I'm fairly sure they'll want to use that sequence again. So
so you mean we'll get the occasional invasion of just a new Titan every now and again?
Yeah, something like that.
Keep us on our toes.
Something like that, yeah. It'll be a possibility. If not, some way to get to a Titan, like a random Titan that...
Or a Titan's defending Thargoid space somewhere further away, that if you really want to go and visit them and poke them, be my guest, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, that would be good, like, especially if, the humans haven't done a forward expedition for a while, so if you set up a kind of colonia, like, maybe not
Col
as big as
70
that,
sector, yes.
Exactly. we like, here we're thinking, well, there's Col 70, right next to it is Col 121, and we're wondering if it's the site of a big intergalactic battle, but... So
time will tell.
For your earlier question, 3 weeks, let's see, 80-odd systems... I don't really see that being Titan week, the same as ECM. It'll be around that time, maybe the week after, but that's we can't really predict at the moment. It just seems a little bit too far away.
But my sort of long predictatron is sort of saying it's going to be autumn time before we're done and dusty with what is there currently, possibly.
I think it will be at the present rate. I think it'll be mid-August by the time we're at Thor. But then the last two, they have 200, well, close enough to 200 systems each, which is double. So we're almost looking at the end of the year if we're quick about it.
Okay. Well, that just gives us a flavour for it. Well, look, thank you very much indeed for your insights into these things, Commander Vulkarius. I'm assuming you're hanging around to hear about the feral donkeys that we didn't get last week.
Wait. Where were these?
The feral donkeys from last week. Oh, don't worry. Amelia will tell you all later, won't you, Amelia?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not wild donkeys.
No, definitely not wild.
Okay, well, it's time for me to pop that one off the screen and hand back over to you guys for what's the next bit.
So, do we have a word of the week?
We do have a word of the week, and word of the week this week is whiffler.
What does that mean?
It's someone who walks in front of you through a crowd.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
I can indeed. I could do with a whiffler, thought Flossy as she panned her way through the crowd on the parade.
And for those who are curious about spelling and meaning, it is now being shown on your screen.
Is it a whiffler with a H?
WHIFFLER.
Like a cool whip.
Yeah.
Yes, this is why I put it in the headline, so you can see the spelling.
It is indeed a whiffler. A whiffler.
Yes.
Right.
Anyway, what do you call an aardvark who just lost a fight? A vark.
Alan. Oh, a what?
A vark.
Oh.
He's no longer armed. He's just a vark.
He's just a...
Yes.
A
vark!
And now it's time to whiffle and waft our way to the part of the show where we find out what it is that Flossy's telling us to do this week.
When the universe is in trouble, bug infestations in the bubble, your home station's burned rubble. What on earth can we do when your faction leader's a dog and your daily tasks are a slog? You're feeling like a used cog. What on earth can we do now? Interstellar initiatives. Let Flossy tell you what it is. Then you can get involved with this. You should listen to what Flossy says. Interstellar initiatives. Flossy tells us what she thinks it is. Then you can get involved with this. Now you should listen to what Flossy says. Listen to what Flossy says. What on earth can we do? Do what Flossy tells you to. What if she talks nonsense? Interstellar initiatives. Let Flossy tell you what it is. Then you can get involved with this. You should listen to what Flossy said. Now we've heard what Flossy said. We can put this matter to bed. Just keep her voice in your head. Flossy told you what to do.
Phew! Hello, Flossy here with this week's CG News. Last week's CG deliver critical aid for the Rio disaster. Turnout for the CG started very well, probably because of getting a corrosive-resistant cargo rack as a reward, along with an SRV orange paint job, as well as the fact there had not been any CGs for a while. By Friday evening, it was becoming obvious that it wouldn't last much beyond the weekend, as commanders tore through the tiers at an astonishing rate. By Sunday evening, the end was in sight, and I was expecting it to be over when I checked on Monday morning. But it wasn't, quite. As I watched the finish line, was becoming closer by the second as the last-minute flurry of activity continued. Any minute, I thought. Then a ping. I was told Frontier were considering adding an extra tier. No, I don't think that would be a good idea at this point, I protested. Then I saw the extra tier appear anyway, and I feared the worst, imagining complaints flooding in. What I didn't know was they had an ace up the sleeve, and within minutes, Senior Community Manager Paul Crowther posted this statement in a thread on the CG forum. Greetings, fellow not all secretly cyborgs. A quick update on the CG. Due to such a swell of player effort, we are altering the rewards to reflect the effort you've all put in. All players will now get one of the cargo racks, and the top 50% will now get 2. As the statement started to filter down and dawn on commanders, their anger changed to joy, as it seemed nobody could go wrong. Those, like myself, who had managed to get into top 50% by a reasonable margin and feared the extra tier would undo their progress, now it suddenly didn't matter. We'd get the corrosive-resistant cargo racks anyway. Never before have I seen this sort of event happen and have such a positive effect. As commanders realised that only a minimal contribution would get them one of the cargo racks, as well as the paint job, more and more alts and newer players joined the CG with small contributions, and had the unprecedented effect of reducing the 50% threshold for many others. Last night there was another surge in activity, and the CG ended just about on the stroke of midnight UK time. And as if that wasn't enough, all the rewards had been received during today, one of the quickest times ever. As it appears there may have been many commanders who had not taken part in CGs before, there were of course more than the usual amount of "When do we get the rewards?" posts. The modules will be found in outfitting at Hutton Orbital, which can be transferred free to any other station, and the paint job will be available the next time livery is chosen while an SRV is equipped in any station. Financial rewards can be claimed by clicking Complete on the CG window of the missions board at the Hutton Orbital, or will be paid automatically after 2 weeks. The final results are 70,002,071 units collected by 6,848 contributors. After all that, there are no new CGs this week, so that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
Is it me?
Oh, it's Amelia.
Amelia!
Mooncake. Wake Amelia.
It is me. And
It
I'm
is.
here to introduce... It's me. And I'm here to introduce Beetlejude and Witherspoon with the Galnet News.
Galnet News Update, 18th of July, 3310. President Hudson is an inhuman monster, according to a Liberal Party spokesperson. Congressman Bai Zheng was speaking after relief metals flooded in to help out the dispossessed citizens of Ria 3, following an appeal by possibly future President Felicia Winters. His words were intended to provide support to Winters, but they very strongly imply that Hudson is not entirely off the human race.
Nobody could be expected to perform their duties whilst mourning the death of so many family members. Let's not chastise our new president for being more human than the last one.
A massive new medical facility has now been built outside New Greenacre, out of aluminium and titanium, and there are hopes that the 5-month ordeal of those caught up in the February earthquake may be coming to an end, and that President-elect Winters might finally start thinking about becoming the actual president. Her words bear out the hope that Hudson might eventually have to get off the Federation throne.
I can find no words to describe the horror of what happened here, nor could I fully express my gratitude to everyone who provided aid and assistance. To the people of the Federation, thank you for allowing me time to grieve. Planning has resumed for the inauguration, and I hope that my administration will officially begin soon.
However, many political commentators believe it's unlikely Winters will choose to take up her role as leader of the Free Galaxy until September. The Federal Liberal Command thanked those who'd helped deliver supplies.
This has been a beacon of hope and support for a planet besieged by misfortune, and these supplies will be of enormous help. Thank you. We have now authorised the delivery of rewards at Hutton Orbital for all pilots who took part in this initiative.
Support for the initiative increased dramatically on Monday, when the rewards were offered to all pilots, not just the top 50%. It seems that many pilots had been deterred from taking part by the apparently competitive nature of the undertaking, and were much happier delivering just a small load of disaster relief supplies rather than having to plan their entire week around it. The influx of new pilots helping out had the counterintuitive effect of lowering the bar to earn 2 of the anti-corrosion cargo racks. On Monday morning, you needed to have hauled more than 13,000 tonnes of relief supplies to get into the top 50%. By the time the initiative ended on Wednesday night, you could get into the top 50% with only a little over 5,000 tonnes. The rewards for those who took part, including the somewhat random but very useful anti-corrosion cargo racks, are available for collection now.
Well, thank you very much to Beetlejude and Witherspoon. We're heavy on the CGs this week, but always nice to get their take on it, and always nice to hear news about potential President Hudson finally giving up his seat. It's
also always nice to hear commanders get the name of that module correct. Everyone, 90+% of people call it a corrosion-resistant cargo rack, It's an anti-corrosion cargo rack is the correct name.
Ooh.
That's if you look at the module,
it is
it's
descriptively, it is a corrosion-resistant cargo rack.
It was
But
given
it's the
that
same thing.
description in the CG from the devs.
Obviously it's the same thing. There's no material difference.
Basically,
it's just that
if you put your Gnosis avian cheese in there, it's not going to eat its way out.
Yeah, you're not going to take module damage every 30 seconds if you do that. No, that's true.
Yeah, there was a tale on the forums earlier of somebody who wasn't using one of them, who was switching between computers and loaded up their ship to put stuff on their fleet carrier that may have been caustic and forgot they didn't have a caustic rack, and then lost a 50 million credit
oh dear.
ship.
When we move lots of corrosive items, we don't use corrosive like the anti-corrosion racks to do that. We use normal racks. But we also have a very specific process to do it, involving sacrificial modules and
flying, going, it's melting the ship.
No, quite the opposite. And while in supercruise, don't supercruise for more than 30 seconds. You do little hops, because that way it restarts the timer when you drop. Like it's something about frame shift energy. I don't know what, but when you jump to supercruise or when you drop from supercruise or change system or anything like that, the time begins again.
Ooh.
So
there you go.
Tic
Tacs, especially from Vulkarius.
Yeah, the hairy bit is when you're approaching in this case, the rescue megaship, so it's slightly easier. There is a stretch of normal flight where obviously you get mass locked and you're going to take one hit. But the trick is to get close with a boost, but then slow down with another boost. Wait for the hit to come, because it could hit your thrusters or something like that. You better have an AFMU, to be honest. If it hits nothing important, you can just go ahead and dock. If it hits your shield, you need to dock carefully. But if it hits your thrusters, you just repair with the AFMU, wait for the next hit, and then...
If it hits your cargo rack and you start leaking, then panic.
The cargo racks don't have... I see. I think you meant the cargo scoop. If you're carrying enough items, it doesn't matter, because what happens is it hits the cargo scoop and kills it.
I meant cargo hatch. That was the word I was thinking of, yes.
Yeah, the cargo hatch. Whichever module it hits, if you're carrying hundreds, it's going to kill it in one hit. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to drop cargo, because the entire module is going to die.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, look, thank you very much. Now, Amelia, are you braced and ready?
Possibly.
Possibly. Now, it's one of those ones where you sort of the happy news, sad news kind of things. We got the news on air, and I've got to mention this because a particular hero of mine, Bob Newhart, comedian, star of many, many things, including Elf, I think he was. Unfortunately, he's passed away at some point in the last 24 hours. I only mention this because an awful lot of what I write for Amelia's bit is done as one half of a conversation with Steve, her hapless assistant, and it is done very much in very poor comedy tribute to what is now the late great Bob Newhart, and by sheer coincidence this evening there might be an awful lot of that. So anybody who's familiar with the early comedy of Bob Newhart might or might not recognise the minor homage that we have coming up in Amelia's bit here. I'm nowhere near as funny or as talented as him, but I do enjoy writing them, and Amelia delivers them with aplomb. So I'm going to dedicate this next bit to the late great Bob Newhart, who passed away earlier today, unfortunately. On that note, though, Amelia, if you're ready,
I am ready, and
you have your feral donkey-proof undergarments on,
we shall see.
And I'm going to have to put the images in on the fly, so there might be some seams here. Here's your theme tune.
Thank you.
You are about to listen to Amelia Hawke. She tries all the galaxy's most dangerous rare items, so you don't have to.
Imagine my surprise a couple of weeks ago when I received a message from a particularly well-known planet. Not some far-flung location no one had ever heard of, or some outpost of humanity that produces incredibly rare goods, but somewhere really close to home that something truly rare had been discovered. The planet of New Africa in Epsilon Indi system was the source of the message and the discovery, one that had excited the scientific community. Coral reefs, once massively endangered on planet Earth through rising sea temperatures, sea levels, and bleaching due to all the rubbish we washed into our oceans, are not in themselves a rare thing in the galaxy. With the sheer number of Earth-like and water worlds out there, and life on many planets having been discovered to have originated in the oceans, they're relatively abundant. Or at least on worlds that we've not overpopulated and ruined yet. Famed for their riot of colours, exotic fish species, gnarly-looking corals and tendril-waving organisms, they're some of the most diverse locations in the galaxy. And while they're abundant and therefore not of themselves rare, certain species can be found in only one small part of one small reef around one small island somewhere. And just sometimes they're truly fascinating. They've already been the source of medicines, new antibiotics, poisons, and much more previously unknown to science. And ethical conservationists and scientists have taken great pains to avoid disruption of their ecosystems while studying these life forms and the many benefits they can bring to the galaxy. So it's rare that on somewhere as thoroughly explored as New Africa, something truly original is found. The message quite simply stated that there was a small island on New Africa that had previously undiscovered reef. And on that reef was a brain coral like no other. A seemingly sentient brain coral, capable of communication. A peaceful, non-invasive life form that was happy to have a chat and just pass the time. Filter feeding on anything passing its way. Providing shelter among its many folds for passing fish, giving an oceanic high five to passing turtles and crustaceans, and just spending the rest of the time just sitting there pondering the universe. Sensor readings have indicated that the very largest specimens are quite literally thousands of years old, and by the depth of the reef, have existed around this small island for eons in peaceful coexistence with nature. With a special investigative license from the government of New Africa, that would be us at Hutton, and strict instructions from Alvin to take great care, I asked my assistant Steve, I can never remember if he's the fourth or fifth one now, to commandeer us a ship suitable for exploration. Remembering the trusty Moray starboat we used a few years ago, he dug through the various scrapyards and finding an ancient hulk of a starboat, paid a number of local engineers to weld the bits that needed welding, replace the bits that couldn't be welded, and generally make it space and seaworthy once again. Unfortunately, on re-entry into the atmosphere of New Africa, we might have sprung a leak or two. So, with the coordinates of the planet programmed into the ancient computer, we're making a less than soft landing on the small island. Steve's checked for me. There are no indigenous mammals on the island, no dangerous plants. In fact, the island itself is rather desolate. The seas nearby have no big sharks in them, and as far as I can tell, there's nothing out there desperate to eat us. I set the Moray down not far from an inlet on the island. The seas around the rest of it are far too high risk to risk Steve's life wading out, and inflate our boat to head out to the reef to see if we can find one of these New African brain corals. Paddling out just a few hundred yards from the beach, our sensors indicate that below us, only a few meters below us, is one of these ancient reefs. Our spacesuits and remlocks are perfect for shallow diving in these waters, able to provide us enough oxygen, a good view, and of course protection against skinned knees and stepping on spiny urchins. As we dive over the side of the boat, leaving our local guide above with the emergency beacon in case of trouble, we take our dive. It isn't long before, in the crystal clear waters, we see one of these brain corals. And the name, well, it's appropriate. It does look like a brain. A giant 3-meter wide brain, but instead of the expected pink and grey colouring, it's vivid blue, tinged with purple around the edges, and it's attended by a shoal of colourful fish. I can't see any appendages or arms or anything that moves. It's just sitting there. Steve, try waving at it. Okay, that's not working. Okay, I'm trying to shine some lights in a pattern. I think this is some form of universal greeting. Steve, do you see anything? What? No, you can't touch it. What do you mean it's telling you to touch it? Oh, okay. But, oh, well, he's gone and touched it. Don't say I didn't warn him. He's just sitting there, transfixed. Steve. No, he's not responding. I'm going to have to go and get him. Hang on. I'll just grab his other arm and... Oh, hi. Sorry, my name's Amelia. What's that? You were just talking to Steve? But where are we from? Well, from up there, above the water. Sorry, I wasn't being facetious. Proxima Centauri, a little place called Hutton Orbital. Oh, you've got my most abject apologies. I had no idea you were an astronomer. Yeah, it is a long way to travel once you get into the system. How's Cecil? How do you know Cecil? He fell in once. You had a nice chat. He shared his hip flask with you. Well, yes, I would imagine with a brain that size, the hangover was a complete bastard. Your fishy friends didn't like it much? Well, it's not everyone's taste. Oh, one of them changed colour. Oh, that happens to us too sometimes when we have the contents of his hip flask. Usually green, to be honest. You'll have to excuse me for a second. I just need to record this. It's astonishing now that I'm close to the brain coral. Sorry, Brian. Now that I'm close to Brian, communication is easy. It's like his words are beamed directly into my brain. I'm not sure if he's talking English or my brain is just translating what he says. Sorry, Brian. He says it's English. He's been here for many hundreds of thousands of passes of the moon overhead, and he's rather bored of talking to the whales. They talk so loudly, apparently, and it's nice to have a conversation at a faster speed. That beeping? Oh, that's a signal from our guide. He's checking that we're okay. In fact, he's suggesting we head back up now as our oxygen is getting a little low and it's getting dark. Look, it's been lovely to meet you, Brian. And I wish we could stay and chat some more, but we really have to go. What's that? Steve's been telling you all about his accidents. Well, Steve needs to go now too. What do you mean, look out for the wildlife? There isn't any on the island. A few bats, a few insects, but records show no indigenous life. Oh. Not the indigenous life. The ones that we brought with us hundreds of years ago. The donkeys. Oh, I wouldn't worry about the donkeys. They're harmless quadrupeds, probably just left behind by explorers. The feral donkeys? You mean wild donkeys, right? It's a translation thing. No, you mean feral. Well, it is getting dark, and we'd hate to meet any angry Eeyore. Steve and I have headed for the surface, and it has indeed got very dark all of a sudden. Our guide has taken us back to the beach, and we're not sure which way the ship is. It's okay, we've got a torch. Here, Steve, you deflate the boat, and I'll get a lock on the ship. Okay. It appears that we've landed around 1 kilometer west of the ship's location, but it's okay. The boat's made of nanomaterial skin and weighs next to nothing. It's a short, very pleasant hike back. Plenty of time to contemplate the bizarre conversation I've just had with that coral while listening to the waves break and the quiet clip-clop of hooves on nearby rocks. Steve, don't worry. I'm sure the reports would have mentioned if the donkeys were dangerous. Feral just means wild. As I'm walking back, I'm sure I can hear the clip-clop of hooves getting closer. And faster. And I'm not sure that hee-haw is supposed to be whispered like that. Steve, turn the light over there. Okay, that's disconcerting. I see pairs of glowing red eyes. How about we walk a little faster? No, I did not bring a laser with me. This is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Res Digest, and I'm standing in a circle of very angry-looking donkeys while Steve is pulling a small palm tree sapling out of the ground as a weapon, so you don't have to. Steve, they've got pointy teeth! Help!
My
Definitely
words.
feral, not wild.
Feral. Oh, I mean, I hope Steve's okay is all I can say. I mean, they did look very angry.
Yeah,
very
well, he
pointy
had
teeth.
the tree sapling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how heavy that thing is, but I'm just picturing him sort of waving it around like camouflage. What was the old song? Picks the tree up by its roots and starts. What was that old song, Camouflage? Anyway. But you think these things aren't based in fact? Huh? Well, you've seen them. I was actually on New Africa last week as well. I got the message to try and send the rescue team out for you. They did get there when your ship wouldn't start.
Did you get photos?
Of the feral donkeys, they do exist on a small island on New Africa, and they are referred to as feral, and I did inquire after your report as to whether feral meant wild, and they said no, feral do not approach
Definitely
the donkeys. Yep. And yes, there were giant brain corals that were quite cool. So every word of what you've said I can verify. I saw with my own 2 eyes.
Indeed you do.
Yes, but you won't find me.
I love the images,
island.
by the way.
Oh,
You managed to get them all up.
They got it. Well, yes, as you were talking, I managed to load them up. Steve looking terrified with his torch and a feral donkey in the boat as well. But there's quite an ethereal one there of you floating, talking to Brian, the big coral brain.
It's very, very serene looking.
Yes, well, it is. I mean, he's been sitting there for millennia, just sort of staring at the night sky and talking
Possibly
to...
eons.
Eons, or even Ians, or Cecils who fall in and talk to him. So, I mean, imagine the knowledge he's accumulated over many thousands of years. And, I mean, an astronomer.
Yeah.
It's not as if he can get up and go and explore the galaxy, so he sort of relies on
No,
you
but
to
he's
fall
got a
in
good
and-
view.
Yeah, he's got a great view of Mitterrand Hollow going past every, minute or so. Because, oh, look, it's the moon. Oh, it's the moon again. You know, I mean, measuring time when your moon passes that quickly, you're going to lose count pretty quickly, aren't you?
That's true, yeah.
What month is it again? It's the 476th month of January. No. But look, thank you very much for exposing yourself to all that danger again. And, I mean, the Moray Starboat, I keep mentioning it because you keep flying them. A couple of times now you've had these Moray Starboats.
I do like the old Moray Starboats, I got to admit.
The idea of flying down to a water world and putting it down and then floating around. Did you ever play Subnautica? The game
Yes.
Subnautica. Yes. Just sort of going down from our space universe and landing on a planet and going under the water and experiencing this undersea realm as well. I'm not sure it's ever going to happen, but we can wish.
They made a second one as well, but I didn't get around to playing that one.
No, wasn't that on an ice world of some sort, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
But no, very enjoyable, except when you sort of swim off the edge of a big cliff and then you see dark things moving in the water below you, and then particularly in VR, you soil yourself and go back really quickly. It does give me the fear, that one.
But it's amazing in VR.
Yes.
It really is amazing in VR.
I mean,
everything's amazing
for me. For me, it's second to Elite here in VR. That was quite spectacular and terrifying in a way that Elite isn't in VR. Proper scary. Sort of claustrophobic with your mask on, maybe, and you get back to your little tin can and hide it, and realise your tin can's about as useful as a tin can when it comes to giant, sea monsters and things. Well, look, thank you very much for going to do that for us, and thank you very much to the co-presenters here, to the apology officer, who's here somewhere. No,
muted. Hello.
Hunting in a cupboard for Mr. Dusty again, yeah?
Yeah, he's in here somewhere.
Well, if you can get him to fix the environmental controls, that'd be lovely.
I might just scatter some trash.
That might do it.
That would do it.
Yeah, you never know.
Ooh, come and get the lovely trash. There we go.
No, he's got wise to it. Thank you very much to Vulkarius for your insights and hints and tips for this week.
You're very welcome.
And to Flossy for keeping us abreast of all of the CG news and the lovely theme tune, of course.
Yeah.
So we're hoping there'll be another new CG starting next week, so you've got more to talk about.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Don't know yet.
And fingers crossed. And obviously thank you to our audience for turning up as well. I haven't forgotten anybody this week, have I? No, Lithobreaker's not here. Right, so as is traditional at the end of the show. Now, is Mooncake gone to sleep? Are we whispering?
We are whispering. Mooncake's asleep.
So there's less meow going on.
But I mean, I think we should thank Lithobreaker because he sent us some photos of his sausage.
His rather sunburned
which I really
sausage.
appreciate.
Well, I mean, I do have a copy of that image here somewhere.
Who doesn't like a good Toulouse sausage?
I do have an image here of his sunburnt sausage.
Yeah,
is it appropriate to share?
Too long.
Is it appropriate to share with the audience? That's the question.
Oh yeah, it's gone 10 o'clock.
There's no faces, is it? There's no faces in it, is there?
No.
There's a few.
You'll never know it was him. Yeah.
Let's just have
Everybody
a look.
likes a bit of Thursday night sausage, don't they?
I'm just downloading one just for the benefit of our viewer. Let's just see whether I can dig out. Here we go. Now brace yourselves. If you're not used to such things, just be warned.
If you've never seen a sausage before,
this
just
would be
grin
the
and bear
sausage. Rate my sausage. This would rate highly. Yes.
Oh, definitely. This
Here we
is
go.
a very, very. This is quality sausage.
Instead of doing the Hutton Orbital broadcast, this is what Commander Lithobreaker is doing. There's greenery on the plate. There's some deep fried somethings and 2 very sunburnt sausages.
A whole lot of sausage.
Yep. So we're sort of jealous, Commander Lithobreaker. There seems to be some.
It does
herbage.
look good, doesn't it?
It does.
It just looks
I
so
haven't
good.
had dinner yet. Oh, nom 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 nom. Right, well, there we go. I'm going to leave you with that view for a moment, just while we go and have a look. So it's traditional at the end of the show that we go and raid somebody. Now, I don't know if any of the new intake are currently streaming. Let's have a quick look, shall we? And a quick browse on Twitch to see who we're going to drop in on. So we're going to play the theme tune at the end of the show. It's one of the random theme tunes, I believe. What do we got? We've got Eralm. Eralm's got loads. Exploration and exobiology by somebody called Slamscape.
What about
Slamscape looks good.
no.
A bit of exobiology. Lost on Earth. Somebody called
You
Lost
got-
on Earth.
Dockerston? Invasions all day.
What else have we got? Pirate mining like hell, yeah. I don't know. I quite like the idea of Lost on Earth. Let's have a quick look. They're around a star. They've got 1 viewer. Oh, that they need viewers.
They need viewers.
Yeah, so we're going to go and raid Lost on Earth after this. So we'd be very grateful if 1 or 2 of you could hang around and say hi and for the mug to Commander Lost on Earth and convert them to the cause that is the Hutton Orbital Truckers and the Hutton Orbital mug. But up until that point, thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week. And Amelia, would you like to whisper the magic words?
For the mug!
For the mug!
Mug.
Mug.
Well, I fired up my sidewinder, feeling mighty bold. Heard tales of anacondas worth their weight in gold. Said I'll head to Hutton Orbital and make my fortune grand. But little did I know, it weren't quite as I planned. Oh, I flew to Hutton Orbital in my little ship so tight, through the void of space on that long dark night. But when I arrived, what did I see? Just a little old mug staring back at me. They said, come to Hutton, son, and get your big reward. An anaconda ship, you'll be the envy of the board. But as I landed gently, my dreams began to fade. For all I got was a mug and the memories we made. Oh, I flew to Hutton Orbital in my little ship so tight, through the void of space on that long dark night. But when I arrived, what did I see? Just a little old mug staring back at me. Now I ain't one for complaining about the way things go, but I sure thought I'd strike it rich at that Hutton show. So I'll raise my mug up high and I'll toast to the sky, for the mug will cry as the stars roll by. Oh, I flew to Hutton Orbital in my little ship so tight, through the void of space on that long dark night. But when I arrived, what did I see? Just a little old mug staring back at me. So here's to all you pilots, dreaming big and bold. Just remember, at Hutton, your fortune might not unfold. But take it in your stride and enjoy the ride, for the mug will shout with country pride. For the mug.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're very sorry, but that's the end of the show. Everyone's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?